muted when not speaking. Yeah, so request would be to keep yourself muted in case you are not speaking, and we will definitely request you to speak. This is not going to be a one-way session, as I said earlier. And last but not the least, very important, is to make yourself comfortable. So if you feel language is a barrier, feel comfortable to speak in the language, English or Hindi. So all of us in the session today as facilitators understand and speak Hindi also. So feel comfortable with the language you want to use, because at the end of the session, the idea is that we will take away few important tips that will help us in our school. So nothing else should be barrier. Some questions we will be taking towards the end, but I want all of you to keep that noted, just keep your questions ready. Yeah. So to begin with, can all of you type in the chat box, if you can hear me, type in the chat box, what did you have for lunch today? Very quickly, type in the chat box, what did you have for lunch today? Let me see. So there are 105 participants. So I'm expecting at least 80 plus responses. We will have to go to our chat box and type, what did we have for lunch? Okay, so Sharmila ma'am has responded. Fauzia ma'am, very nice. Chapati sabji seems to be very common. Rice meals, potatoes and chapati, dal, very nice. A lot of proteins there. Mixed, no lunch as yet, Hanif. So that's very late. Biryani Asma ma'am, very nice. Dalgos rice, that's nice. So I've got approximately 10 responses so far, 12 responses, but I hope others are also listening. I am expecting at least 70% of you to respond constantly during the session, right? Because the session will be successful when there will be more participation. Yeah, so I got responses from Alima Sheikh, Asma, Nikar ma'am, Abdul Aziz, Muhammad Hanif, Pathan, Tabassum, Alvera, Aisha, Kamla, Umera, and I got one more new response from Neha. So I'm expecting constant responses because there are a lot of...
there's some kind of a disturbance from your end, I think.
Okay, just a second.
Any speaker or anything.
Is it better now?
Yeah.
Is it better now? Perfect.
Yeah, perfect.
Wonderful. I've got around 15 responses, which is okay to start with, but I'm expecting more responses as we go ahead, because it will all be about talking to each other throughout the 90-minute session. I'm sure we may not be in a regular, speaking mode, but this session, feel comfortable. There is no right, no wrong. We all are learning together, right? Okay, so moving ahead after the norms, I hope you are keeping this ready. Cameras on if possible, quiet place, pencil and a notebook with you. What are we going to start with? We are going to start with a small icebreaker. Yeah, a small icebreaker. And what I want you to type in the chat box right now is one thing that you must have done in last 1 year that you're very proud about. One thing that you're very proud about. Don't type and send. I want all of you to type it, but do not send. The moment I say go, that is when you send. So type in the chat box one thing that you are really proud about in one last year. One thing that you are really proud about in one last year. I want all of you to type it in the chat box. Do not hit send. Just wait after typing. Okay, Ruby ma'am has already sent it, but others keep waiting. I will ask go, and that is when you hit the send button. Okay, I hope 10 more seconds for you to type it down. Okay, hit go. Okay, so wow, lot of new things. So learned technology, attended webinars, took training and exercising sessions, Dean studies, new books, very nice. I made good videos and PPTs. That's interesting. So spend time with family. Okay, that's also important, and glad you got time for that this year. Attended more and more workshops. I see a varied range of things. Experienced Corona. Everyone had a personal challenge. I hope you're doing well and fine now. I think Corona has not untouched anyone. It has touched everyone in some way or the other. Learned more about technology, intensive exploring new technologies, new students. Thank you so much for sharing. That's really nice. Cooked delicious food. Ma'am, I would like to know which location do you stay. So once I visit, I would like to taste some good food. How to handle difficult situation, personal life. Very nice. Virtual classrooms. One thing that I see dominant in the chat box is learning. We all learned something new, right? Because the travel time was less, we had a lot of time to explore new things. So we all spent time in a productive way. A lot of you made good videos, PPTs, read books, spent time with family, exercised. But most importantly, that comes out is we all learned something new in terms of technology and explored something new. So that's really nice. Thanks for sharing. I think the more we see and explore ourselves, expose ourselves to new things, we keep on learning. Yeah. Very nice. Thank you. What are we going to do now? I want to ask you about one goal that you have for the upcoming year. Okay, just like last time, I want you to type it in the chat box. Do not send. Type it in the chat box. Do not send. One goal that you have for the upcoming session. We all learned last year something or the other, right? It may have been conscious, unconscious, or may have happened automatically. But things are much better when we plan it well. So I want you to think and type down one thing that you have as a goal for next year. Okay, I hope everyone is typing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so more technology we want to learn. Frankly speaking, I've done so much over the year, but I still see that there's so many new things to learn, especially with technology. Be smarter, okay, but what I will have to do to be smarter? Improve teaching methods, research, technology improvement, and technology is going to keep on evolving. So we will have to be adaptive and keep on learning. Alvera Ma'am says, spread knowledge. Very nice. Neha ma'am says to implement what we learn. Very nice. So not only to attend the sessions, but using them in a practical day-to-day life to become a smart teacher. Very nice. Tomorrow is also the teacher's day. So good day to have this session for us. Wonderful. So what I also see in the goal, that's how teachers are. Until teachers kind of learn and become better, our students won't be doing better. So if we want our students to do better, we will have to do better. The more we grow in personally, the more students will grow, right? So that's really nice to hear that a lot of you are open to learn more, improve the skills, improve the position. Obviously, we should all be ambitious and enrich teaching career. Very nice. I'm so happy that you all are looking forward to learning something new this year, especially a skill. And most importantly, many of you said learning more within the technology, right? So as you all know, today's session is about experiential learning and building curiosity within the students. I would like to know one expectation that you have from the session today. Obviously, our session is planned, but knowing your expectation might help us share better in today's training. So if you can type down, again, I will give you 10 seconds to type it down. And the moment I say hit, you will send. One expectation that you have from the session today, it will be more of as an information for Ramya, Mubashir, and me, so that we can make the best out of the next 70 minutes we have. Okay, hit send. Learn something new, okay. Enrich my knowledge, getting more information, very nice, okay. Skills development, very nice. Different types of learning, okay. How to bring back the students to normal education after a long time. That will be a difficult task. Innovative plans for the classroom, okay. Very nice. Very nice. Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. What I will do now, I want to understand the audience, so I'm not really sure right now as to how many teachers are in the session, which subjects you teach. And I think that information will help me plan or share my experiences in a similar manner. Yeah. What we are going to do now is share a small link in the chat box. I want you to share I'm sharing a small link in the chat box. I want all of you to open the Google form and type your responses and submit. Yeah, the Google form might look like this. It might ask you whether you are a teacher or a principal or a school management or a parent. Then it might ask you which grades do you teach, and it might ask you which subject do you teach. Yeah, so we have around 108 participants in the session. So I'm expecting at least 100 responses to this form. I am sharing this link in the Google, in the chat box. I want all of you to open it and respond to that in next 1 minute. Yeah, very nice. So I have shared the Google form. Can you all please respond to that? We will take 1 minute as you fill the form. I've already got 4 responses so far. 8 now. 17 responses, so waiting for 80 more. 23. It's not a very complicated form, only 3 questions. 29 responses. 34 responses. We'll wait for 30 more seconds so that everyone can fill the form. Okay. 42 responses so far. 10 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so I know some of you may be still filling the form, but just in the interest of time, I will move ahead. So let me share what I got. So I see overall 49 people have responded, and I see that majority of our group today is teachers. So that helps me when I'm talking to you. I will give you live examples of classrooms that you can relate with. I see that we have distribution of teachers across all the grades. We have maximum teachers teaching grade 1 to 5 and minimum in early program, which we have 4 teachers with. And in terms of which subjects you teach, I see many teachers from language class and science class. Then comes maths and socials, and there are 2 teachers who teach arts and sports. So thank you for quickly responding to that. Now I see 51 responses. Thank you for sharing. That helps us give a direction to the session. What we are going to do next is most important. We are going to know what exactly are we going to learn today, right? What are we going to learn today? So I want one of you to help me read the aim of the day. So who will help me read the aim of the day? Can any of you raise your hand, and then I can unmute you so that you can share? Okay, Neha Hafza has raised her hand first. So Neha ma'am, would you like to read the aim?
Yes, sir.
Yes, please.
We will be able to identify the impact of experiential learning in classroom. We will be able to identify practices that lead to experiential learning.
Very nice. Thank you so much for reading that, ma'am. So firstly, we should understand why do we even need to have experiential learning, right? There are many schools who do not do experiential learning where rote learning happens. So they also become successful. But what happens when an impact experiential learning happens? What is the impact on the child? So we need to understand that. And second thing that we will do is identify key things that teachers do in the classroom that helps children experience the learning better. So experiential learning is all about experiencing what you are learning, right? Learning something in a different way so that that learning can stay with you for a long, long term, right? Thank you so much for reading that, Neha ma'am. Now I'll be asking few questions where you can just, show me a thumbs up, not on camera, but maybe digitally, right? Have you heard of pizza sometime? Pizza, have you heard of? You can show me a thumbs up if you have heard of, or you can type yes in the chat box if you have heard of. Okay, Neha ma'am has showed her thumbs up. I see 5 raised hands. Okay, this is not the pizza that we eat I'm talking about. This is about PISA, which is Program for International Student Assessment. Yeah, Program for International Student Assessment. I will give you a small brief of what PISA is, right? It's an exam that happens internationally for 15-year-old children after every 3 years. So it happened in 2009, then it happened in 2012, then it happened in 2015, 18, and 21. It has already happened, right? So it's an international exam. And what happened is India used to participate in that exam. And India participated in 2015 last, right? Along with 74 other countries, right? And then after the exam, the countries were ranked. There were 2 states from India which participated, which is Tamil Nadu and Himachal Pradesh. Why these 2? Because these 2 are also considered top states in the nation, right? So I want you to guess, or if you know, you can share it. What was the ranking of Indian states among the 74 countries? You can type it in the chat box if you can guess. What was the ranking of Indian states among the 72 countries that participated? Who tell me? Okay, so but answer says 21. Okay, would anyone else like to guess? Iqbal says 43, 15, 10, 12. That's a huge expectation. Okay, I'm sorry to disappoint you. Someone says 43. Okay, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I'll show you the ranking. So if you say, I cannot place all the 74 nations here, but if you see 72 number, that's Tamil Nadu, and 73, that's Himachal Pradesh. So out of all the 74 countries that participated, India could only beat Kyrgyzstan. All other countries were ahead of it. So if you see, Shanghai in China was number 1, South Korea was number 2, Finland was number 3, Hong Kong in China was number 4. India was way behind in this exam at 72nd and 73rd. So, and after that, India did not participate in that PISA exam. Annie ma'am second, but not from the start. Towards the end, we were second. So not a good news to be happy about, but I think we should take it as a learning. There is a reason why we were behind, right? Identifying why we were behind and solving that problem will help us improve our children, right? So the result basically tells where our children in India stand compared to the other nations, right? So it's very important that we take that as a learning and make changes in our education system, right? Education system overall needs a change and be more inclusive and more open. So a lot of things have changed. In 2000s, we used to use a Nokia handheld mobile phone. We have switched to multiple smartphones now. That is life. We earlier, 20 years, 30 years down the line, the cars used to be very different. Nowadays, the cars are electric, fast, efficient, but our education system has almost stayed the same for over a century. And it needs adaptation. It needs learning. And I see in your chat box when you shared earlier that all of you are open to learn, right? We have to learn, we have to adapt and bring something new into the education so that our children are at a competitive level. Now, what happened in India after the PISA results in 2015, many people said, this is an outside exam. How is this relevant to India? The words used in the exam were not relevant, not used in India. So what happened is, I'm sure many of you may have heard about Azim Premji, right? He is a philanthropist in India, and he also runs Azim Premji Foundation. Can you show me a thumbs up if you have heard his name before, Azim Premji Foundation, if you have heard before? You can show a thumbs up on the digital platform, Zoom. Okay, I see few thumbs up, so few of you know. Okay, so Azim Premji runs Azim Premji Foundation, and he decided that he will test Indian children on Indian context. So he prepared a question paper and distributed it to multiple schools to test, do Indian children really lack understanding of concepts, or is it only the PISA exam which was different? You know, and this was one of the question which was asked in that exam. So Afzal has made a square on his computer. He now turns the shape as shown. What is the change in the shape? It changes into some other shape. It changes into a diamond shape. It remains square, but its sides and length changes. It remains the square with equal sides. What I want you to do is think about this question and respond with the correct answer in the chat box. What do you think is the correct answer? A, B, C, or D? Ten seconds to respond, not more than that. Not a very difficult question. Okay. Thank you, Hanif sir, to begin with. Suryakala ma'am, Naseem sir, Aisha ma'am, thank you for responding. Okay. Can I get more responses? So far, 10. Come on, we can do better. We have 120 participants in the session. So I'm expecting quick 100 responses. Okay, Asma ma'am, Farhin, Shagufta ma'am, thank you. Sharmila ma'am, Seda ma'am, Zinat ma'am. Okay, so I see fairly large number of responses. Most of you say D and some of you say B and C. No one is saying A. So it does not definitely change in a new shape. But when this question was put to grade 4 children, only 16% were able to answer correctly. Only 16% of grade 4 students. And when the same question was asked in grade 6, only 32% of students said D. Right? That's a huge number of students sharing the wrong answer. So in grade 4, 84 children were not able to say the correct answer. And in grade 6, almost 70% of children, to be precise, 68% of children could not say the correct answer. What do you think could be the reason? You can raise your hand so that I can unmute and maybe you can verbally share. What do you think is the reason? Why did our children fail to answer this question? Yeah. Why do you think our children failed to answer this question? Who would like to share? And this is not from a specific school or a specific state, right? Across India, we see that the general understanding of certain concepts are missing. So yes, Abdul Aziz sir is raising his hand. Would you like to share, sir? You can
sir,
speak.
we generally do not give situation to think logically to our students.
So we do not allow children to think in an Indian context, and there are many other countries who do that because we have been taught to teach in a certain way. So there is a statement and children have to believe that. There is no reasoning, questioning about it. Fawzia Mama said they do not think based on concept. Yeah, so there is less opportunity for children to explore beyond what teacher says. Every child needs to think differently. Many children are not aware of the shape as some of the responses that I am getting. And many a times, square in our books or notebook or workbook, anywhere we see square, it is always flat. So when in the question paper, it was tilted, children got confused. And as Annie ma'am says, lack of critical thinking. So children did not think differently. Why did they not think differently? Because they never were told to think differently in the class. If they were asked in the classroom to think about the answer, think about the situation, think about the problem, they would have thought differently, and maybe the percentage of students who said the correct answer would be on the higher end. Few students would have been struggling, right? So we all understand that there are general reasons, right? I would like to invite Mubashir to share some of his examples from his own experience of what he feels learning really is.
Thank you so much, Mahesh, for that. The context is well said and the need for the change is conveyed. So let's come to the topic now, that is of the experiential learning and how. So why is it important? And that's what we're going to discuss in this small module. So if you could tell me, some of you, that how do we learn? How do we learn new things? What are the different ways of learning? So you can share it on the chat, or you can raise your hand so that I can unmute you. How do we learn that? We're all teachers, right? We're all teachers and we're all working closely with education. So we should know that how do we learn? Yeah, so some of the experience, answers that I'm getting in the chat are by experiencing something good. Okay, so practically, Mohammed sir is telling that by experience, learning by practical aspects. Okay, good. And Abdulaziz sir is also listening, reading, watching videos. Yeah, good. There also we are learning. Yes. And learn by experiencing, reading, a lot of things. Okay, so good. Connecting with previous knowledge. Yes. Seeing, listening, understanding. Super. Okay, so all these are part of learning, and we are learning is happening. So two types of learning that I would like to talk about is, so the first one is by experience only. Both of them are from experience, and some of those experience are accidental. Say, for example, if I want to give you an example, so 1 year, so a huge success in the 10th standard examination that has happened in our school. So that's, you didn't think, you didn't plan for it, but still it happened. So you're thinking about it, and what can be the reason for that? And if you're thinking and you're taking it as a learning, so you're different. Yeah. So different things that you're thinking, why does this happen for our students this year? So it can be about the, it can be about the quality of the teachers, or it can be about, see what we could say that, so the strength of the children or the methodology that they followed, and all those things we can talk about. Okay, so experiential learning is not a new concept for us, as we know. I'll give you a simple example. Okay, so that's a difference between a driving school and a school in real, so an academic school, if you talk about. So if you want to talk, if you want to learn driving, so what is the first thing that you have to think upon? Could you please share? So you're learning driving. So you want to learn driving. So what is the first thing that you think of? Yeah, some of you can share in the chat, or you can raise your hand. Yeah, road rules you should know about, basic rules. So that is what you learn first. Okay, we have a driving. Okay, so learning test may be there, and that's where you have to. Okay, so Abdulaziz sir is telling that we have to practice. Okay, so for his first one, yeah, hand eye coordination, all those things. Okay, that's all we learn. And the first thing that we have to decide upon which vehicle you're going to ride. For example, it's a two-wheeler riding. That is what you have to learn. Okay, so then what is the next step? Already have shared that we have to. So what is the next step? You have decided that. So driving, you have to learn riding of a motorcycle. Then what is the next step? What do you have to do? To enroll yourself, okay, you have to enroll yourself. That's all procedure, right? To learn it. By enrolling, you're not going to learn it. Yeah, so Alvera ma'am is sharing that we have to practice that. You have to sit on a two-wheeler and you have to start driving, right? You have to start riding, you have to practice it. And you may fall. So sometimes you may make a zigzag and it won't go straight. A lot of things may happen, right? Okay, so you have to prepare, arrange a bike, and all those things we have to do. Yeah, arranging the bike comes as a resource. Okay, it's a resource, and then you have to sit on it. You have to try doing it. And first of all, will you be trying it on a highway? Will you be trying it on a highway first? No, we won't try, you know. So Aisha ma'am is telling, no, we won't try, right? So first of all, you try on a ground. Yeah. So maybe a ground or some stadium, something is, an area is there, a free area clearing should be there. And there we try it. Okay. So now you're trying it, you're doing it. So what are the things that is coming to your mind now? So you're trying, you're practicing every day. So the first day is over. When you're about to sleep, when you go to bed, you might be thinking about it. So what are the thoughts that would come to your mind? The first day didn't go right. So everything was collapsed. Or you might have got a minor injury, something. And you'll be thinking about it. What is a mistake? Why I cannot do that? Yeah. So when will I drive smooth? In what way I can improve it? Yeah. So good. You might be thinking all those things. What is a mistake I'm doing? So I made the instructor told me that I'm holding the handle so tightly. That's a mistake. I have to correct it. So these kind of, you're analyzing what you have learned. So from the experience, you're analyzing what experience that you have had. Okay, now you're almost okay. Now you can try. So what is the next step will you do? Yeah, Fauziya ma'am is telling where I went wrong. You might be thinking about it. So what is the next step? You're almost okay now. So what will you be trying next? Okay, so you may take it to a small road and you'll try there. Okay, so what is the next step? You are okay, now you have learned it. And what is the next step? How can I improve? You'll be taking a pillion, pillion drive, and you have someone in the bag and you try that. So practice ourselves, less populated area. Okay, you're practiced and now you're okay. You can drive, you can ride a motorbike. Then what will you try next? What do you have to do? You have to get a license, very important. So you have to try this and you have to show someone that you're doing it. And you have to get a license. You have to get assessed by someone and they have to give us the license that you are ready. So same applicable everywhere. If you are trying something to cook new, so you make it, you try doing it, then you taste a bit of it, then you're thinking, what does? So whether it's cooked properly or the salt is okay, spices are okay, you're thinking, and a lot of questions are coming to your mind. So first you try it, then you think of it, you analyze yourself, and next you apply. So you'll serve it for someone. When you're serving it, you'll get some feedback. Sometimes I would tell you that, oh, okay, yummy, super, very good, very nice. Sometimes I would tell you, it's okay, it's eatable. And otherwise I would say, please. Right. So these different types of assessment, that feedback we get from our learning. So the same is applicable in our real life as well. Yes, some reinforcement we will be getting. So this is applicable in our real life as well. So how call an experiential learning expert, he's telling us what are the different cycle, what is the learning cycle. So that is what we have to see. So we need to have a concrete experience to learn something. If you're learning a skill, especially you need to try it. By reading, you can learn reading. By speaking, you can learn speaking. If you want to learn to do something, solve a problem, in everyday class, we have to solve problems. See, that is what is your aim? But if you want to communicate properly, you have to communicate inside the classroom. So same way, what is the outcome that you have to try? You have to experience it. That is concrete experience. And from the concrete experience, what is the experience that I had? And you have to think about it. Unless otherwise you think of what you have experienced, it is not a learning for you. You'll be simply leaving it off, right? And then you have to capture what is the learning. That is abstract conceptualization. You're getting what is the learning out of it. And you will be applying the learning next time in your real life. So this is a cycle of learning cycle. And this can be very much applicable in our classroom also. They are learning, they have to learn the concept, they have to learn the skill as well. So if they wanted to get the skill, and that is the problem, right? They don't have the skill. That's a problem of our youth, of Indian youth. So they need to have the skill. To get the skill, definitely they should try doing things inside the classroom. They should get experience of it, first-hand experience. So that's it. I'm handing over to Mahesh.
Thank you for so much sharing the insight, Mubashir. I have an alternate idea. You shared a very long procedure for riding a bike. You know what I'll do? In fact, over the last week, I wrote a 10-page booklet. A 10-page booklet on how to drive a bike or how to ride a bike. Yeah. So Mubashir shared a very long procedure that you have to sit on the bike, you have to practice, you have to drive, you have to test. I have a 10-page booklet. And for all the ones who are attending the session today, I'm going to offer that booklet for free. So you have to read that booklet and drive a bike, say tomorrow, because you have an entire day tomorrow. Drive a bike on Monday and share me a small video. Do you think that will work? I want you to read that booklet. I'll share that booklet after the session. And I want you to read that booklet. You to read that booklet tomorrow and then record yourself driving a bike. Alvera ma'am says no. Hina ma'am says no. Aisha ma'am says no. It's, you don't trust me, ma'am. I have written that book personally. It's a 10-page booklet with pictures. Would you drive it after reading the book? Or are you still saying no?
Book from an expert.
A book from an expert. Hina ma'am still says no. Hina ma'am doesn't trust me. Yeah. So Aisha ma'am says practice makes us perfect. Needs hands-on experience. I really like that word. Abdul Aziz sir. Hands-on experience. No book in the world will teach you how to drive a book unless you actually do it hands-on. Without practice, it will not work. So only by reading a book, I may not do it. I may have to practice it, right? First hands-on, then analyze it, and then I will be probably getting the license. Great. Thanks for sharing, Mubashir. What we will do now is move to the action part of our session, right? So we now know what are we going to learn. We will learn about the impact of experiential learning and the practices involved in experiential learning. To learn that, we will do a small activity, right? And this activity is as teachers, and you will get opportunity to become children during the session. What are we going to do today? We are going to observe two classes, one after the other, right? There will be two teachers, one after the other, and they will take the same class in two different ways, right? I want you to keep your notebook and your pen ready with you when you are observing these two teachers. Yeah, and you can see the columns made below, the teacher action and the student action. You have to make a similar table for both the classes, for class 1 and then for class 2. I want you to make a table with teacher action and student action for two different classes. And as you are observing the classes, I want you to note down the teacher action and the student action. Yeah. To be specific, you know, when I say teacher actions means not what teacher is exactly doing. For example, I will not write teacher said this or teacher said this. I will write what exactly is teacher doing. Teacher, for example, if they are sharing what is expected in the class, teacher is sharing the rules of the class. If teacher is asking children to do something hands-on, then teacher asking students to do activity, right? And what is the response of students when teachers do it? What are students doing, right? So we will be mentioning two things, teacher action and student action. Do we have any questions before we start doing the action? So as I said, there'll be two classes. For each of the classes, we will have to fill teacher action and student action. Do we have any questions or are my instructions clear? If you are clear with the action part and the instructions, if you can type yes in the chat box. So Asha ma'am says clear. I hope others are there in the session. I'm expecting more responses. So these two are very nice. I can see more responses now, but I think if we are really live on the session, I should say at least 50 to 60 responses. Yes, 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 yes. It's very nice. I can see a lot of responses now. Wonderful. So let's keep the participation as strong as it was just now. And let me ask Mubashir to take class 1.
Yeah. Thank you, Mahesh. I'm starting with the class, and I don't have any teacher, science teacher, maths teacher, or language teacher inside the classroom. I don't have any principals, honors. I have only grade 5 children. Are you ready? Are you all grade 5 children?
We will all pretend to be grade 5 children. We are all small children now.
Yeah. Okay. So with that note, let me start with the class and let me set the norms of the class, the rules of the class. See, you have to listen very carefully to the class, and always you have to keep your mic on mute, and you can note down what are the important points when I'm showing on the screen. Okay, so let's start with the class. So today we are going to learn chapter 5, seed dispersal. Okay, so children, what is seed dispersal? You know, children, tell me what is seed dispersal. Who is going to tell me? Yeah, tell me, children, what is seed dispersal? Nobody's answering. Okay, then I'll read it for you. Okay, so seed dispersal is the movement, spread, or transport of seed away from the parent plant. So that is seed dispersal. So now this is a definition of seed dispersal, and there are different types of seed dispersal. You can disperse it by wind, and you can see by water, by animals, and explosions. Okay, so today we are going to focus on the dispersal by wind. So let's see, listen carefully. So what is it, dispersal by wind, and what is the purpose of it? That is what I'm going to talk about first. Okay, plants need to ensure that their seeds are scattered, go away from the parent plant. For what? Otherwise, there would happen some kind of overcrowding. A lot of plants will be growing at the same place. So they won't get enough minerals, they won't get enough water, they won't get enough sunlight. So that would be the problem. So, and it also reduces the competition. What happens if the parent plant has all the young plants under the plant, under the parent plant? What will happen? There will be a competition to get the water, to get the minerals, to get the light. You have seen, right? Okay, so that may happen. So there will be a competition. And also there can happen, so the plants cannot move to one place to another. So they need to reach their seeds to some other place. So they use the agents like wind, animal, water to keep the young plants away from the parent plant. So that is dispersal. And here we are going to see what are the features of wind dispersed seeds. This is also a very important point. So this is, many times I have seen this question is asked for the examination. So see this, and you can also note it down. Okay, seeds that can be dispersed by wind are usually the small and light. The question will be in the question paper like, so what are the features of wind dispersed seeds? So you'll be answering the question like, so the small and light. So seeds that can be dispersed by wind are usually small and light in weight, small in size. And some seeds that are scattered with their fruits will have wing-like structure. For example, I've seen many times example is also asking, that is for 1 mark. So example, maple fruit. Okay. And so some seeds will have hair-like structure. For example, dandelion fruit will have hair-like structure for the fruit. And here you can see some examples. So maple seeds, shoria fruit. And both of them have wing-like structure. You can see one picture there. And the next one, dandelion fruit. You see there? Dandelion fruit is light and feathery. You can see some hair-like structure there. And wind dispersed seeds and fruits are small and lightweight that can carry from one place to another. Wind can carry them easily from one place to another to a different distance. Okay. Here you can see some pictures of maple seeds and dandelion fruit seeds. So now this. Okay, here. Okay, now I have got some questions. Let me check whether you have understood the class. Okay, who is going to define the seed dispersal? Tell me who is going to. Anybody is there? So what is the definition of seed dispersal? Have you understood? Isn't it clear for you? Can you raise your hand? Okay, I'm going to show you the answers on the screen. Okay, once again, you can note it down and you have to learn this. 2 questions are very important, and I have seen, I told you, many times the exams, these questions are appearing. The other question, what are the common features of wind dispersed seeds and fruits? And give me some examples. Okay, here, could you please share the answers on the chat here? Yeah, very good. Kamala ma'am is sharing. Very good, very good. Okay, that's the right answer. Separation from mother plant. Okay, seeds from mother plant. Good. So what are the common features of wind dispersed? Okay, very good. Shafiha ma'am, that's small and light. Good, good, good. So let me show you on the screen. You can take a screenshot of this and you can write it in your notebook and by heart it. When you come to the next class, I'll be asking you questions definitely. And we have the exams also coming on Tuesday. So please learn, these questions will be there. Okay. So thank you so much, children. We'll meet in the next class.
Great. Thanks, Mubashir, for taking that class in a short time. So participants, as I said, there are going to be 2 classes in the action part. This was class 1, right? And I hope all of you have taken notes of what was the teacher action and what was the student action, right? No answers of yours are wrong. Everything that you're writing is correct, right? So don't have to disbelieve yourself. What we will do now is observe another class on the same topic. Another class on the same topic. We will observe, and once again we will note down the teacher actions and the student action. Yeah, we will again note down the teacher action and the student action. Ramya has faced a slight power cut at her end. Mubashir, can I request you to continue doing the second class also?
Yeah, sure. Admissions.
So while we are observing the class 2, we will again take teacher notes.
Okay, children. Good afternoon.
Can I share one more thing? So at the end of this session, I want you to take notes. Taking notes is very important because at the end of the session, we are going to compare 2 different classes. So if you're not focusing on class 1 and class 2, we will not be able to compare. And I think with that conversation, Ramya is also online. So Ramya, would you like to begin class 2?
So thanks, Mahesh.
Yes.
So can I ask the host to actually someone's video is spotlighted? Can I?
Okay, we will have to make you co-host. Syed Salim sir, can you please make Ramya the co-host? She had a power cut, so she jumped out of the meeting and got back.
Okay. Got it.
Perfect.
No, I'm able to see only your screen on Spotlight. Just a second, let me remove.
You're a co-host now.
Okay.
Salim sir?
No, done. Salim sir has done, yes.
Over.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
So thank you so much, Mahesh. Good afternoon, everyone. It's nice to see you all, whoever has switched on their videos. Without further ado, let me move on to the class. As Mubashir pointed out earlier, you will all be grade 5 children. You're not teachers, you're not owners, or you're not school principals. Grade 5 children. And let me right away share my screen. Just a second. Okay, so first thing, as usual, we need to follow certain norms, certain rules for our class children. First rule, as you can see, everyone tries to participate. I want everyone to participate in one means or the other, right? Second rule is raise your digital hands for a chance to share something. If you want to say something, if you want to answer questions, raise your digital hand. And of course, for you to speak, wait for your turn, wait for your name to be called out, and then you can unmute and speak. Use chat box in abundance. So how would everyone participate? We have about 120 participants here. If everyone needs to participate, they need to use the chat box in abundance. Are the rules understood? Give me a hint, give me a thumbs up, just raise your digital hand if it is understood quickly. Yes, 2 participants raised hands. I hope the others have understood the rules as well. Moving forward, the agenda for today's class, of course, we begin the class with recap of the previous class and introduction. We're going to introduction of the topic, right? And then we're going to begin with a small activity as usual. You're going to experience the topic today. Then we're going to reflect. We're going to think. We're going to ask and answer questions, right? Then after that, we will write our worksheets on our own independently. Finally, we end the session with the homework or the after school work, right? Is that all understood? May I go ahead? Yes. You can use chat box or show, raise digital hand in order for me to go ahead. Yes. Fantastic. Now, what did we learn in last class, children? The last class, we learned about seeds, right? What, for plants to bring in new plants or younger plants, what do they need actually? What do they do? Answers in chat. Seed separation. Fantastic, Komala. That's fantastic. We need seeds. Now, I have a question. We learned about dispersal in last class, right? Dispersal means scattering of these seeds to a different place, to different places, right? Now, my question is, what will happen if dispersal does not happen? If the seeds are not scattered, if the seeds are there in the same place as the parent plant? Answers in chat box. Quickly, let me see your responses. Overcrowded. Fantastic, Naseem. Overcrowding happens. Overcrowding. Yes, we learned about overcrowding in last class. We learned about one more word. Now, what will happen between the parent plant and the young plant? Yes, Abdul. Very nice, Abdul. Competition happens. Competition for taking in the sunlight, the water. Fantastic. Competition happens. Great. You can all lower your hands, and when I ask question, you can raise digital hand to share if you want a chance to share. Fantastic, children. Yes, we learned about dispersal. We learned that dispersal helps to reduce competition. It helps to prevent overcrowding. Now, what are we going to learn in today's class? Let me share my screen for you again. Are you able to view my screen? Okay, I want Shahina. Shahina, can you read the topic quickly? Shahina Begum, Hapsfu. Shahina, can you hear me? Please bear with me, ma'am. I'm just treating you all like children. So, Kafil, yes, Kafil, can you read out the topic quickly? Can you unmute and read out the topic?
Dispersal by wind.
Dispersal by wind. Thank you. Thank you. Very well done. Okay, so today, as the name suggests, in today's class, we are going to learn about, just a second, we are going to find out, or we are going to describe how the structure of wind dispersed seeds help in dispersal or scattering. Okay. So what are we going to learn today? I want everyone to take your notebooks and write the parts that I have underlined. What we are going to learn today, we are going to describe how the structure of the seeds help in dispersal. Quickly, I'm giving you 20 seconds to write this down in your notebook. 20 seconds. We will learn. In the meantime, can someone rephrase what the aim is? What are we going to learn today? Maybe I can call out some name. Just a second. Okay, let me call out Syed Salim. What are we going to learn today quickly? Syed? Okay, who would like to share the aim of today's class? Can we have raised hands? Who would like to? Neha, yes. Neha, yes. Would you like to share quickly? What is the aim of today's class?
The structure of wind dispersed seeds helps in scattering the seeds.
Okay, so we are going to describe the structure, how these structures are looking like. Fantastic. Okay, now as I mentioned, we're going to do a small activity. We need resources for the activity, right? So the resources that we need for the activity is very simple. We just need a sheet of paper. And then, of course, we're going to use our notebooks and our workbook, correct? So we're going to, make thin strips out of the paper sheet. We need 6 strips like this, right? So before we go into the activity, let's quickly write down the important words for the day today, right? So I can call, just a second, Mustari Begum. Quickly, can you read out the important words that we are going to read today? I have 3 words on my screen. Or would anyone like to volunteer? In the meantime, others can post their responses in the chat box. Yes, Zenat. Quickly.
The words are disperse, scatter, float.
Float. I want everyone to make a note of these 3 words, important words in the notebook. I'll give you 10 seconds to do that. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, pens down. Okay, now let me share my screen about the activity instructions. What are we going to do as part of this activity? So I mentioned that we are going to do an activity with the help of strips. So I want you all, if all of you have a sheet of paper right now, you can do it along with me as I demonstrate, right? You can pair 6 strips, thin strips of paper, and what we are going to do, the procedure is given here in the picture that I have shared, but I'm going to demonstrate as well. So I'm going to give you the instructions on what this activity is all about, okay? We're all going to make 2 models, right? We're going to take 3 minutes to do these 2 models. And then after we make these, we're going to release both the models from the same height. And you're going to observe which model is going to reach the floor first. Not only observing, you're going to reflect. You're going to think, why did this model reach the floor first? Why did this model reach the floor last? What helped or hindered it? So this is what we are going to observe. And after which I'm going to play you a short video, which you would pay very careful attention. And after that, we will have our discussion, right? So clear about what we are going to do with the activity. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a, yes in chat box if you're clear on what we are going to do in this activity. Quickly, children, give me a thumbs up if you have understood what you have to do. Yes? Great, great. Okay, now I'm going to stop screen share. I'm going to see, I have taken 3 strips out of the 6 strips first, right? And I want all of you, for whoever it's possible, try to do the same activity as I do. Now I have folded, first step number 1, I have folded all these strips into half. This is step number 1. Now step number 2 is, so I'm naming all these strips, strip 1, strip 2, and strip 3. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to put the entire strip 2 inside strip 1. Like this. Like this. The full strip 2 is inside strip 1, right? Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the strip 3 and I'm going to open the fold and I'm going to put it inside strip. Let's put the strip 2 inside strip 3. Can you see? So each one of these strips is inside the other one, alternately, right? Now, once I've done this, I have to close this. These are all open. If I let go, it will fall down, right? Now, this end of the strip, this end, this open end, I'm going to put inside this loop of strip 1, and I'm going to close it. Okay. So once I do this, what happens? I have to pull all the ends together like this. I hope you are all doing this as I'm doing, as I'm demonstrating. Now, what do I have in here? Can I have answers in the chat box? What do I have in here? I have a model which looks like, let me see the responses. A fan. It looks like a fan because it has 3 wings. Okay. Now I've prepared a similar model like this. Okay. I've made 2 models. Hopefully, I want you all, if it is possible for you, do it now, or otherwise you can do it at home and you will share the video of the same to your teacher. Okay. Now I have 2 models now, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a small change in model 2. I'm going to tear off these wings. See, I'm tearing off these wings. Number 2 and number 3. So these are our 2 models. The first model looks like a fan, but the second model, I have tore off the wings, right? Now, for the second part of our activity, we are all going to do this, okay? I'm going to throw this, yeah. I'm going to throw this, or I'm going to release this from the same height. What do you think will happen? If you can type your responses in the chat box, even before I do this, but when I throw this, which model will reach the floor first? Yes, fantastic. I had just thrown it. If you can do the same thing by at home, or if possible, both are equally fall. Let us see. Second model, model B. Model B. Very good, very good. Okay, we will discuss about the same. We will discuss about the same, but I want you to reflect now. I want you to think why that model fell down first, whichever model. Why, if it is model B, why did model B fall down first? What made model A, stay in the air a little bit more? Why? Think about it. In the meantime, I'm going to play you a small video. I'm going to play a video. I'm getting some good responses. Yes, just a second. Okay, are you able to see my screen, children?
Not yet.
Okay.
Now it is.
Right. So I'm going to play this video right now.
Plants need to ensure that their seeds are scattered or dispersed as far away from the parent plants as possible. Seeds that can be dispersed by the wind are usually small and light. Sometimes seeds are scattered with their fruits. The special structures help the fruits and seeds to be carried by the wind over greater distances.
Okay, I hope the video and audio was clear. Now for questions, okay? Now that you have done the activity, now that you have reflected on why that happened, was my screen visible? I have a chat message saying it was not seen. Mahesh, was my video visible?
Yeah, it was visible.
Yes, yes, it was visible.
It was. Okay, fantastic. Right. Must be a connectivity issue, sir, Patan sir. Okay, right. Now for the question. It's discussion time. As usual, I want as many responses in chat box and then I will call out names also. Right. First question. First question. Which model fell down or hit the floor first? Quickly, chat box response. Aisha. Aisha, you can unmute and answer. Aisha?
It's model B.
It's model B. Okay. Second question. Why do you think model B hit the floor first? Due to lightweight. Very good, Mosina. Good. Due to lightweight. Does anybody else have another answer? It's small. It's light and small. Very nice. Very good answers. Let me call out. If you need to share orally, you can raise your digital hand. I will call out your name. How about Ruby Anandraj? Next question is for you. Others can put your answers in chat. The next question. Why do you think model A was slow to come down? What did it have? Ruby Anandraj? Others? Yes, I'm getting good answers. Fauzia, very good. It had wings and model B did not have wings. Okay, so what did the wing exactly do? The wing helped it to? What did the wing help the seed to? Yes, Varalakshmi, very good answer. It helped to float in the air. It helped the seed to float in the air. Okay, so let's see what are these structures, the structures that help the seed to float in the air or to get dispersed. Okay, let me share my screen. Let me summarize the answers for this question. Let's see if you have answered correctly. Okay. Right. So, as usual, seed A takes more time to reach the ground compared to seed B. And the reason being, it has a longer wing-like structure. So it was able to stay afloat. I think most of you answered it really well. I heard good answers, good words like float, right? The seed with short wing structure falls to the ground faster than the seed with a long structure, right? So the wing-like structure is very important for a wind-dispersed seed. I want you all to make a note of this. This particular sentence, the wing-like structure is very important for wind-dispersed seed, and it helps to stay afloat, to float the seed longer. All right. Next set of questions. The next question is, in general, right? What special features allow some seeds to be dispersed by the wind? In general, what special features? Yeah, we actually found two examples in the video. We found some fruits also. What were the two examples? Maple, yes, maple. Did they have any special structures? What special structure did maple have? Maple and dandelion, yes. What structure did the maple fruit have? Hair-like structure was for which fruit? Shaista, would you like to answer orally? Hair-like structure was for which fruit? Dandelion, yes, very good. And what structure did the maple fruit have? I think we are, yes, Fauzia, very good. Wing-like structure. The maple fruit had wing-like structure. So some, different fruits and different seeds have different kinds of structures, but mostly these wing-like structure and hairy structures help in wind dispersal. It helps the seed to get dispersed to far off places, right? So these are very important. Now, let me quickly summarize, and before we do the worksheet, one last hot question. Yes, amazing responses. Very good, very good. Let me share my screen once again. As we saw, okay, so seeds that can be dispersed, some of you had already mentioned this, it can be dispersed by the wind. Can the wind carry a heavy seed? Yes. Responses in chat box. No. Okay, very good. So sometimes seeds are scattered with their fruit. Sometimes seeds are not just scattered. It is scattered along with the fruit as well, right? So in the case of maple leaf, wing-like structure. In the case of dandelion fruit, hair-like structures. All these structures help the fruit and the seeds to be carried by the wind over farther distances or greater distances. Okay. One last question. Again, chat responses. And if you want to give oral answers, raise your digital hand. How is wind dispersal in the seeds of fruits related to their size and shape? Is it related to the size and shape? Yes, we're getting chat responses. Okay. Yeah, it is related. Okay, how is it related? Who will give me a detailed answer? Let me call someone. If you want to share orally quickly. Who would like to share orally? Okay, yeah.
Ramya, sorry, just a request. Can we pause the class here since we are already out of time and we have to cover the rest of the class? But I think you have covered almost all the lesson plan. We have the worksheet to go. We are skipping a small part of the lesson. Great. Thank you so much, Ramya, for this class. I'm sorry I have to cut you short. I wish we had an extended time with the teachers here. Okay, but what we will quickly do now, I hope you have a lot of notes with you, right? What I will do quickly is share a small link in the chat box. I want all of you to open the link in the chat box. I will share with you how the screen looks like, what are the questions. So few basic details of yours, and then you will see a list of questions of what has happened in class 1 and class 2. So the learning objective was shared towards the beginning of the class. If you see it happening in class 1, you mention it in class 1, or if you see it happening in class 2, you mention class 2. So there are different things which has happened or has not happened in a particular class. And I want you to click and then submit your responses. Yeah, let's start. Now click on the link that I have shared right now, because I will just extend the session for 15 minutes. Okay, so let me see if some responses, we'll have 3 minutes to get all the responses on the sheet. This form might require your email ID.
Mahesh.
Yes, sir.
Prajapati, sir, do you have a questionnaire also?
We have a questionnaire, sir. I have shared. I've shared it with there is a Zoom account says OME IIT. I've shared it with them, and towards the end I'll share it in the chat box also.
No, if possible, no, you itself you share on this one.
Right now itself.
Sir, no problem, sir. I will share later, sir.
Okay. Yeah, we are extending the session by 15 minutes, sir. If you don't mind.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so let me see. Okay, I have 2 responses already. I know this is a longer form, but I want all of you to enter it right now. These are very important responses. Okay, so 4 responses so far. If you feel a certain thing has happened in both the classes, so you can tick mark for both. That is also fine. Okay, in the interest of time, I will share the form once I get 20 responses minimum. I have 6 so far, so waiting for 14 more responses. But I want all of you to attend it either now or after the session is over. So I have 8 responses so far. 10. Okay, I have got 16 responses and let me share now. I want all of you to continue filling in this form. So which of these practices was in class 1 and 2? And I am happy that you saw the classroom 2 had many of these practices which were very useful inside the classroom. So a lot of these practices that you saw in the questionnaire are useful practices. And those were very well done in class 2 sample that we saw. Thank you for sharing that. What we will do now, I know some practices that were done were useful and some practices that were done were not very useful. I want some of you to share which practices that you found useful in the classes. Yeah, which practices did you find useful? We'll unmute ourselves and share for 2 minutes. Which practices did you find useful? Anyone who would like to go? Which teacher actions or practice did you find useful? Or you can mention it in the chat box. Okay. So I see first thing in the chat box, okay, hands-on activity. So there was a hands-on activity plan, which was related to the lesson plan. Thank you for sharing, Neha ma'am. Anyone else? Anyone else? What else was a useful teacher action in the classroom? What was useful? Experiment, so which is again activity, which was done by students, not by teachers. Very nice. What else? What else was useful in the class? Okay, come on, quickly, we'll have to do this quickly. Teacher activity shown for dispersal. In an ideal class, it would have been done by students. learning by doing, okay. What else was happening? Appreciating the students. That's nice. Pictures shared, live pictures shared, okay. Summarizing the lesson. I like this answer, Neha ma'am, thank you. Summarizing answers by students, activity-based learning, involvement of students, very nice. So it's not one-way classroom, involvement of students was happening. Open-ended questioning. So questioning sometimes you say the answer can be yes or no. Taj Mahal is in Agra. The answer is yes or no. But the questions asked in this classroom were different. They were open-ended, where students can share in their own words. Okay, observation and conclusion, which is summarizing towards the end of the class. So you saw these practices which were helpful. Very important, Hina ma'am. Clear instruction. If I don't share clear instructions, students will be confused. Icebreaker to have a small warm-up towards the class. Very nice. I see a lot of points you have picked up. Now you may have also seen, yeah, motivation, right? So appreciation also brings motivation to students, right? To speak more in the classroom. Right, right. For him, ma'am says appreciating. Nice. Amazing. Thank you. So there were also some non-useful teaching practices that we could have seen, right? Is there some non-useful practice? So just like how it is important to know what to do in the class, it is also important to know what is not useful and what is something that we should avoid in the classroom. So did you notice among the first class or the second class, the non-useful teacher action? What was not useful? What should we avoid doing in the class as teachers? What should we avoid doing in the classroom? It is very important. You will have to reflect to find out what is something that we should not do. So Aisha ma'am says it should not be teacher-centric. So one way can I say it? So one way class where students don't speak. One way, yes. So unnecessary talk, which is not related to topic. Avoid things not related to topic. Thank you. Then teacher said to by heart the answers. So not very useful. So rote learning, not useful. What else? What else? Yes. So through explanation. So Abdul Aziz says only explanation might not help. It has to be some kind of hands-on activity. And after the hands-on activity, there should be some kind of questioning which is open-ended. Thank you all for sharing. Answers given by children were not useful. Thank you. Given by teacher was not useful. Lecture method was not useful, right? It is very important to know what is not useful, right? We sometimes consider, only important parts as what we should do, but we sometimes miss what we should not do, right? And this kind of gives you a clear idea of what we should do and what we should not do. And this is coming from you, which is very important. So involving the children, speaking to them, making them do something, making them speak their own words, sharing their own mind becomes very important, right? Thank you for sharing. Considering the time, I'm moving slightly ahead. What am I going to do now? These are two questions which I want you to answer, right? Now, if these practices, for example, these useful practices, hands-on activity, learning by doing, appreciating the students, sharing pictures on the slide and the video, summarizing the answers given by children, giving clear instructions, how are these things helpful to children in the class? If I do the useful practices, how is it helpful to me? Yeah. What I'll do now, I'm going to share a small link in the chat box, and I want all of you to fill your responses in that link. Yeah. Give me a second. Yeah, I'm going to share a link and I want all of you to share your responses in that link. How are these practices helpful for students in the long run or in the class? There are two questions. Once you click your response for the first question, you will get access to the second question once everyone responds to the first question. And I will also share the screen so that you can see the responses live. So waiting for your responses. Let me see. How are these useful teacher actions or practices helpful for students in the class? Okay, students will get interested in learning, you have mentioned. Very nice. I want all of you to click on the link and share your responses. Hands-on experiment to make the learning efficient, okay? But how is it helpful for a child in the class? I'm doing it, but how is it helpful? What difference will it make if I avoid lecture and involve children? It motivates children. It makes the experience for the children good, helps them understand the concept clearly. And I'm sure that if they're learning in this way, it will be long-term. Students will get motivated. They will understand the concepts well. Very nice. So I got 9 responses so far, 10. It's an interactive class, makes the children to be curious and take interest in the subject. That's very important. Many children run away from science. Some children run away from maths. But if we change the approach, the interest will definitely increase. Right? Very nice. Thank you for sharing these responses. This is very important. What am I going to do now? Ask you one more question, and I want you to respond in the same link. Yeah. Let me share the other question. You can use the same link to answer my other question. And the question is, if such classes, we just saw one class, class 2, but if such classes happens 100 times in a year, 100 times in a year, because in say science, there are 15 chapters, and within those chapters, there are 7 to 8 topics. And in a year, I get say 150 science periods, 150 maths periods, 150 English periods, right? So if many of these periods are for say assessment and revision, but if I take 100 classes like this for the entire year, what is it that my child will learn? What is the skill improvement in my child? I want you to answer this question in only one word. What is the skill improvement in the child if we do similar classes 100 times? Yeah, on 100 topics. You can see the responses on the chat box. Concept development will happen. Children will explore. Someone mentioned drastically. Wonderful. So concept will be developed. The listening skills, they'll be more creative. Very nice. They'll be more creative. A lot of you are talking about creative thinking, observation. They'll become better in that subject. I got 17 responses so far. It will be glad to see some more responses. Very nice. They'll understand and apply. I like the terminology that you are using. Completely pedagogical. Very nice. Very nice. So if we do similar kind of classes where children are doing something, they are speaking, they are writing on their own, what will happen to them? At the end of the year, they will become much better learner. They will think critically. They will be more knowledgeable. Obviously, they'll be a problem solver, innovative, creative, not only in academics, but also outside in their life. So it's very important that we allow children to explore certain things. And I'm really happy that many of you are responding. And I think as and when we are moving ahead on the session, I'm getting more responses, right? Great. I think it was a wonderful session. We all kind of participated a lot. And there are a lot many responses that I received over the time. So thankful for all of these. What we will do now is fill a link. Yeah. Yeah. Mubashir, I'm skipping the application part right now. I'm moving on to the assessment. Yes. So this is a questionnaire. What I want you to do is open the link, and I want you to fill. There's a questionnaire for around 15 marks. And then the second part of the form is the feedback for the session. Yeah. Let me paste the link in the chat box. And for this one, I want all 100 responses. This is important. Yeah, so I've pasted the link in the chat box. So I want all of you to answer all of these questions. There are 2 parts in this form. The second part is for the feedback. Okay, I hope everyone is typing. Okay, I already have 42 responses, so that's a nice option. So waiting for more responses so 8 more responses, then we move on. Okay, so I have a good number of responses. The link is shared with the leadership team also. So yes, I want all of you to complete the link. So far, I have approximately 44 responses, but we have over 100 participants. So looking forward to more responses. And once the responses are complete, I'll share it with the leadership team. Yeah. Thank you so much for attending the session. I would have really been happy if there was more time to have more Q&A. But with the interest of time, we are closing for the day. Thank you so much for your participation, and happy Teachers' Day in advance from the team at Exceed.
Thank you, Magesh. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Yeah, thank you, Mahesh Prajapati, Ramya, and Mr. Mubashir from the Exceed team. We are really grateful for your participation and your lecture. And I cannot call it lecture. It was a very highly interactive session, and I hope everybody would have taken all the points, and they will implement that in their classrooms. And happy Teachers' Day in advance to all the teachers assembled here. And also I thank God for bringing us all together in the cause of education, in the cause of our future, our children, and the future of our nation. So we are all trying to build the nation, and I really thank Exceed team for helping us and standing shoulder to shoulder with us. Here I would like to tell you people something. So some 7-8 years ago, I, as a principal, I found that the children don't experience what they learn. It'll be very difficult for them to really understand things. So what I did was, I was going class after class, and I was telling them, this is how you have to teach poetry, this is how you have to make them write the poem, and this is how you have to make a drama in the English class, or things like that. I used to tell them. And after some time, I thought I was not very resourceful enough to go to all the classes and tell all the teachers what to do in each and every class and subject. At that time, Ashish had come up with this Exceed, and we were one of the earliest schools to adopt Exceed, and our children are wonderful. They have developed wonderfully well, and they're all even if I'm not there, all my teachers, they can function as principals in my absence. Not only that, my children also can do that. So it is they really experience what they do, and they picked up a lot of leadership qualities as well. And also, learning has become very easy and enjoyable, joyful learning. That is what this Exceed has done to us. And I really thank one and all of you. If you have any questions, you can just go ahead, teachers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nigar ma'am. It was a pleasure to be here to speak to all the teachers, and really thankful for all the participation. Thank you one and all for devoting the time today. Every minute is precious, and you decided to spend time here. So really helpful. Thankful for that as well.
Teachers, any questions? You can end the session.
Okay. Thank you, Ramya ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. How
Thank
are
you.
Sir?
Fine.
Thank you, sir.
Nice
Thank you.
to see you.
Have a good day, everyone.
Nice meeting you all.
Happy Teachers Day to the Exceed team as well. You are great
Thank you so
teachers.
much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good luck, everyone.
Bye.